California coastal with some frilly tea room.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm running very behind. Hang on. Let's see. Okay, I got my water. Got some paint. Well, I've got some water. It's not full. I told you I'm running very behind. I was going to make a cup of tea. I started doing other stuff. All right. Hope everybody's having a good morning. Looks like we need to zoom out just a little bit. Not too much. There we go. So I thought we would do a little still life this morning. I've been cleaning and rearranging things in my office. I'll post a picture to social media later. And I totally forgot to do any social media last night, because that's just where my brain is right now. All right. I still have to label a couple things because I move stuff around. Now if I don't label it, I'll never find anything. I thought we would do a little still life. I have these two pictures here that I took a while back last year, a while back. I have a box of like props I keep in my studio, and when I come across something interesting like this bouquet of sunflowers, I will, or one time I did cherries. I came across at the grocery store some really pretty cherries. Then I'll do like a photo shoot of like miniature still lives, and I'll save the photos. I'll also alter the photos in some apps, and I usually will put them in some sort of inspiration book side by side for future reference for still lives. So I thought we would do a little still life this morning. I'm going to use one of these because they're out. These are actually extra that I need to get rid of. I might keep one, but I need to send these out to Happy Mail or something. These are not DecoArt products, so we won't discuss them this morning. This is just like a giant graphite crayon. And I'm going to use it to sketch. This is a 2B. It's like a giant stick of graphite. Hope you all had a great weekend. I'm just mapping in my shapes. Hey, Phoebe, how are you? I was worried I was going to be very much later than I am because I got into cleaning out my pencils and pens, and I totally lost track of time, you guys. Because, you know, that's what happens, right? We start looking at pretty shiny things and you're like, oh, wow, I was supposed to be on the air. Oops. There's another one like here. Hey, Katana, how are you? So we're going to use the Americana paints this morning. I'm just doing my sketch here. I'm using a graphite crayon, but you can use just any pencil. This is a 2B. It's like a giant stick of graphite. just kind of, you know, do some rough sketching, messy sketching, right? I do lots of messy sketches. You all know that. I don't know if these two pictures are on my website or not. They may have been. They may be. If they're not, I will post them. There's an inspiration photo page on my website. And if they're there, you can download them and you can do something from them. Oh, nice. Surprise dates are always nice. Hey, Christine. All right, so we've got some shapes mapped in, and I'm pretty happy with that. I am gonna do something here. Now, just because I have both the realistic photo and the altered one side by side doesn't mean I'm going to paint exactly to either one. I am going to do an artistic interpretation from both photos. Well, that's the idea anyway. We'll see how it turns out. I don't know. I need a palette. I'm so far behind. I don't even have that out. Let's see. Where's my palette? Oh, no worries. I was totally behind. I started sorting out my pens and pencils and stuff, and talking to my daughter about if she wanted some stuff that I didn't want anymore, because she does do some doodling and drawing, and she did. And anyway, we started talking, and yeah, I totally lost track of time. Okay, so now I'm going to pick colors here from my Americana Paints. Hey, welcome from Greece. Wow. People are instant messaging me over Facebook, but I can't look right now. I can't multitask anymore. I'm not good at it. Let's see. I'm trying to see what other colors I have that I want to use. We have white. Oh yeah, make sure you post that. And Gatana, if you're in my Facebook group, A Life of Art and Self-Expression, you should post a link to her channel over there. We can all show her some love and check her out. Okay. I think those are good colors. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm winging it here. I will, after the broadcast, I'll post all the specific colors to the video in the description. And these are just your Americana craft paints. This is Indian turquoise, foliage green, lemon yellow, Paynes gray, spiced pumpkin, not because there's a lot of orange in these sunflowers, but because I think I might want to add some of it to the yellow. Whitewash, which we're going to put right in the middle, and burnt umber. Hey, how are you? I'm glad I'm not the only one who's late this morning. I was worried to be super late. I don't think we're going to need black. I think we're going to do without black. So I think these colors will work. Let's start with a filbert brush. Grab my rag. Oh, everybody's welcome. All right, so if you've seen me paint before, you know that the way I like to work, let's get the background done first so that then we can paint the focal point, and we don't have to worry about trying to not mess up the focal point after we've gotten it painted by doing the background, because that would suck. I do want a little bit of red. There's a little bit of red in the inspiration photo because of where I shot it in my kitchen. So we're going to put a little bit of red on here. This is alizarin crimson. All right. So first we're going to take a little bit of that red and we're going to put it here. Now, if we lose some of our pencil lines, you know, we're okay with that. We're not going to treat them too preciously. And I'm using my inspiration photo as a guide. And again, somebody, if somebody is available to go look at my website and tell me if these photos are on there or not, because I don't remember, to be honest with you. And it's been one of those mornings anyway. That my website is my name, GinaBAhrens.com, for those that don't know. So this is a whitewash. I didn't really clean my brush off. I didn't do more than wipe it off on the canvas here on my table. Oh, thank you. It's just a quick pencil sketch. Nothing special. Thank you so much. So now I don't want it to be, hey, Michelle. Oh, I'm glad you did, Michelle. I saw you and Cindy chatting, but I was doing this and I'm already like distracted because I was cleaning out my pencils and pens. I'll share with you and Cindy later. And no, I don't have anything to give away to you and Cindy because Becca took it. So sorry. Because you know the one art thing she likes to do is doodle, so. Oh, good. You know, I ended up buying some for myself, and I don't even really like working with napkins in my mixed media, and they were too cute to turn down. So we're just working on the background. There's a shadow here because I had the jar sitting on a bamboo mat. So we're gonna just quickly put some of that in. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope everybody's having a great week. Less than 2 weeks for me to be going to Alaska. I can't wait. Hey, Karen. Hey, Angie. We welcome everybody, new and old alike. We're just here to share some art and have fun. It's what it should be about. No, it's actually these two photos. These are two photos I took of a still life. I had a still life photo shoot in my kitchen, which I do periodically. I have a collection of props, jars, and vases and things. So if they're not on the website, I'll make sure that this afternoon they do get loaded. You guys can download them if you want to paint from them. I couldn't remember. And see, I just got paint on the... That's all right. All right, I'm going to grab some of the turquoise here. There's a little like turquoise right there somewhere. The Alaska trip's going to be so much fun, and we're taking a cruise. So I've never been on a cruise ship before, so that's going to be fun. There's a little bit of green. I'm just tapping the brush in too. I'm making random marks with my brush. I really like an abstract sort of a look. For those of you who are new and don't know that about me, those of you who have been watching for a while know that's what I like, so you won't be surprised. Under inspiration photos, yeah, it should be. If it's there, it should be under inspiration photos. But I just couldn't remember if it was there or not. And I don't know if just one version of the photo is on there or both the original and the altered. I don't remember. So just if just going to, you know, by this one here, we're just kind of mapping out the colors that we see. Oh, I've been doing lives for a while, Audria. Hey, how are you? I've been doing YouTube lives not as long as I've been doing it on other places, but YouTube live is easier and it benefits my channel, which is always nice. I'm gonna make a little bit of a blue-gray here. We're just working on a little still life. I'm working on the background here. I like to do my backgrounds first. And you're taking inspiration from the photo. You're not, you know, we're not looking to copy it, because if we want an exact copy, that's what we have cameras for. Oh, good. I'm glad. You know, I was going to give some of these little canvases away, and I've ended up keeping every single one of them that I've made. So I'm mixing my Indian turquoise a little bit with the Paynes gray. Now, if you took a picture like this that you want to try to paint, but you don't want to use the same colors, a tip for you to, oh, you too, Angie, a tip for you is to print it in black and white. So you get the values of the different colors without the color. And then it's easier to not get distracted by what color the painting was in real life. I'm still using a pretty big brush. I do have other brushes here that we'll be switching out in just a minute. I'm just kind of getting a base coat on everything. Yeah, and who doesn't like making art together? And little still lives are fun, getting out of the space of like creating faces all the time. I know we all like doing faces, but, you know, do a little still life, paint a flower, you know, something like that. Yeah, it does get lonely, just, you know, because we just spend a lot of time by ourselves painting, right? Yeah, I agree. Some of my very best friends do not live in the state of California, do they, Michelle? So without the wonderful world of the internet, we'd never get together and share any artsy vibes. I'm going to switch to a smaller filbert brush. We're just, like I said, we're just putting in our base color right now. I'm going to put in some yellow. Now, yellow pigments, it seems like no matter the brand, no matter how expensive it is, and no matter the medium, whether it's watercolor or acrylic, is a very sheer color. So if you don't want the background to show at all, you probably need to put some white on first and let it dry. And then it'll look more yellow. Oh, that's a good thing to do. Yeah, sometimes I have you guys playing one of your videos playing in the background while I'm editing photos or something like that, or painting. Yeah. So this little book here, I have a lot of reference books in my studio. I have yet to ever throw one away. I still have all of my old idea and reference books from the days when I was making wedding dresses. I never throw anything like that away. And periodically I take photos. I have photo sessions. So I have, and I can get it actually for you really quick. It's underneath my table. I have this little box here of props that I've picked up like at the thrift store and things. And periodically when I'm out, maybe at the grocery store, I see a bunch of really pretty fruit, or I see a bunch of beautiful flowers. I'll pick them up and I'll use my small props to do photo shoots. And so that's what I did here with some sunflowers in a blue jar. And then I took the photo and I altered it in some apps that I have and created this version. And when I put them in my little notebooks, I usually put them side by side, and then I can use them as future reference to create paintings from. And I always put them in plastic sheet protectors because I tend to get them narfed up, using one of Shannon Green's words, and get paint all over them. And I already did on the other side, because I'm a messy artist. You know, I'm lazy and messy. So yeah, and you know, maybe I'm been at an event and they have, well, for instance, last year we were at a friend's wedding and they had this beautiful arrangement of flowers on the table. And of course, me being who I am, and all of you out there will be able to get this because you're all creative like I am, totally distracted by the flowers on the table, totally not listening to the conversation or paying attention to where all the glasses of wine were, because I ended up spilling one because I was taking pictures. And so I took these photos of the flower arrangement that I will be using at some point for photo reference. Totally spilled somebody's glass of wine as I was turning the flower arrangement around trying to get pictures, because that's what I do. My middle name is not Grace or Patience. And those people who know me just shake their heads anymore at me when I do things like that. I do stuff like that all the time. So I'm always distracted everywhere I go by the world around me and taking pictures of something I think that can be used later for inspiration for a photo. I do that a lot. And I take almost all my photos, before you ask, I know somebody will, I take almost all the photos with my cell phone. I don't often have the video camera with me. Yeah, I print them. So the ones that I really love, I print, and I put in some kind of notebook. You can get little small photo albums at like Dollar Tree. You don't have to spend a lot. And I usually like this is 5x7. Yeah, and or 4x6. I don't print them any smaller than that because it gets to be too small. And I don't print them bigger anymore either, because then I have no room in my studio for my art supplies because it's full up of notebooks. But you can get the small, like 4x6 or 5x7 little photo albums at Dollar Tree. I've always kept lots of notes and, you know, like newspaper articles and magazine articles of things that I thought might be interesting to try at some point. I've always done that. I've always kept articles and things. It's good to, you know, you build up your own supply of reference material, and that's not a bad thing. Then, you know, you can't possibly be accused of copying somebody if you're using your own photograph. So you see, I'm literally just blocking in shapes, and I am I'm looking at where the colors are over here, and I'm being suggestive about where I put them in my painting. And you know, every painting has an ugly duckling stage, so don't get all freaked out because you're thinking, ah, what is that? I created a mess. It's ugly. They all do that. They're all ugly at some point. I do think we need some other blue here. This is true blue. So I'm not treating anything more preciously than the other thing. I'm just putting my colors on where it feels right. You know, that happens to all of us. Don't let it get to you. They all have a point where you're looking at it going, oh, I created a hot mess. That's ugly as sin. I got plenty of them out in the garage. You guys just don't see them. Every now and then somebody says, oh, can I buy that one? I'm like, really? That one? And you notice I'm not doing a lot of wiping off my brush. I'm getting secondary and, you know, secondary and third colors just because my brush is blending with other things that are on it and colors that are on the canvas. I'm okay with that. Remember to take artistic license with, you know, where you put things. Just because you're using a reference photo doesn't mean you have to copy it exactly. Like I said, that's why we have cameras. So if I want an exact copy, I have my daughter, the photographer, take a picture. I have a tendency to paint sunflowers very orange, so I have to be careful most of the time that I don't do that. I know this from teaching at Michael's because there was a lesson plan that was all about sunflowers. I'm just, even with a limited color palette, you can make this kind of painting work. You learn from the ugly ones, that's for sure. You definitely learn from the ugly ones. You learn something, and that's a good thing. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yeah, you have to just keep working through the ugly part to get to the good part. As long as both products are archival, I don't see why not. I mean, we are mixed media artists, so we're all about layering things together. And Winsor Newton does make an acrylic ink. You have to make sure which ink you buy. They also make a calligraphy ink, which is water soluble. So you might have to experiment with the different kinds of ink that they have. Make sure you buy the right, when you're buying ink, you want to make sure you buy the right one for what you want to do. The calligraphy inks are water soluble, but then there's the acrylic inks that once they are dry or not. The acrylic ink will keep moving around. I mean, the calligraphy ink will keep moving around. Yeah, I agree with you, Phoebe. And those are the ones everybody else likes, and you're like, really? I have to stop saying that though, because that makes me. I have to just say, oh, sure, yeah, that one's for sale. I have to not question them. Second guessing the customer is not a good thing. And with this series, I want to just show you guys what you can do with simple, inexpensive supplies. If you want to experiment more and, you know, get into using more proper artist grade materials, that's great, but you don't have to, especially when you're just getting started. And right, yeah, I should know better because, you know, I spent years in customer service, so I really should know better. Shouldn't second guess the customers. It's not good. Now see, already, look, that was ugly a few minutes ago, but I'm liking where that's going now. I'm going to pull in a little bit of violet. I know, one more color, right? So violet is a really good shadow color. Remember what I said about not needing to copy or photograph it exactly. Violet's a great color for pulling in some shadows, especially in sunflower centers. It's one of my favorite colors to use in sunflower centers. Thank you, Phoebe. And you'll see me wipe my brush off a lot on my table. At some point, the canvas will turn into a journal cover or a bag or something like that. Don't you hate autocorrect? I hate autocorrect. I know what I want to say, damn it. Exactly. Gesso is a great fix-it. So, you know, if you really hate what you've done, you can always put gesso over it. Okay, let's go back down here. I know, right? I always, Barbie, I always think, oh, I'm just going to try just doing a couple colors. It's just not in me unless you really make me just do something like black and white, like for a lesson. I just like color too much. But that's okay. Who doesn't love color? How do you not love color? Hey, Michelle. Somebody asked me not long ago about why I use a ceramic plate for a palette, because I'm the lazy crafter and it's easier to clean. And I don't have to have separate palettes for watercolor and acrylic. There's no other reason. So this is an angle brush. It's a different brush. It'll just give me a different mark. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, we all love color, right? I can do the occasional piece in you know, like black and white, but it's definitely not my favorite. So you mean saran wrap? Because that came out ceramic wrap, and I'm pretty sure that's not what you meant. Although I could be wrong. I'm frequently wrong. It's a good exercise, though, Phoebe, to keep yourself fresh and, you know, working with values and tones. It's a good exercise. It's not my favorite thing, but it's a good exercise. Especially if you feel like you are having a moment where, you know, maybe you feel like your art is not progressing, or there's something else about it that you're not happy with at the moment. Maybe you want to try doing blending exercises, or doing a piece that's just black and white, or, you know, one of those other kind of basic exercises to just keep you fresh and, you know, brush up your skills a little bit, or remind yourself of some things. I know for me, if I don't use it, I forget, you know, like if you don't draw faces on a regular basis, then you're like, ooh, wait, what do I do? So you should keep in practice with things. Don't be afraid to get your fingers in there. Use baby wipes, use your marks. I've done whole paintings with just fingers, no brushes. Yeah, practice, practice, practice. And, you know, especially if you're stuck and you're having, you know, a moment where, you know, your muse is on vacation, that's a good time to get some practice in and just, you know, practice some basics, practice color blending. And, you know, all of our muses decide to, you know, periodically go on vacation. Wish they'd tell us when they want to do that. Yeah, sometimes the getting things to flow the way you want is a challenge, right? So, you know, add some marks. That means I covered up other marks. So that means I go back and put more marks in. And you just keep bouncing around back and forth until you get something that you like and that you feel is done. Yeah, you need to get rid of some of the impatience and have more patience, because painting is not necessarily a quick process, and it probably shouldn't be. Let's just not talk about how behind we all are, because I'm the queen of that right now. I have yet to start Lifebook. When did that start? January? Yeah, we're in week 18 over there. I have yet to start. Just FYI, if you want to talk about being late on stuff. But in my defense, I was doing lots of other things. I have downloaded all of the other classes I'm supposed to be doing, which I haven't done any of them yet either. But I got them downloaded, so I'm going to try to get Lifebook downloaded today and tomorrow. And thank you. It's just practice. That's all. Just at least with classes like Lifebook, make sure you download the classes. You can always go back to it at a future time and do it then. There's no law that says you have to do it, you know, right this second. Oh, thanks. Yeah, these little paintings are fun because you can get your painting practice in or satisfy that part of you that wants to do a painting, but just do these little ones. They're quick, they're easy. And I was going to give some of these away, and so far all of them have ended up hung up in my studio. Yeah, I have a terabyte drive, so between being a YouTube creator and classes like Lifebook, I had to have a terabyte drive. That's looking pretty good. We're getting there. Yeah, I hear you. I'm trying to figure out how when my computer dies, which, you know, they don't last forever, it will at some point, how I can get a new one without getting Windows 10, which I really don't want. So I mixed up another shade of green. I'm not covering up my other shades. I just felt like it needed something here. When you're doing these sort of impressionistic, sort of semi-abstract little paintings, it's fun to use like either a brush that's too big or an unusual mark making tool, or maybe use your non-dominant hand. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to having to get Windows 10. I'm gonna delay that as long as humanly possible. For one thing, I like all the software I'm using, and lots of it doesn't work well with Windows 10. Yes, it will be available for replay. I'm going to save it. It'll be on my channel. Unedited. It's going to just go, it'll be loaded straight to the channel within a few minutes of the end of the broadcast. Because I've figured out now how to do that without screwing it up and deleting things by accident. Because yes, I have done that. Deleted things by accident. I'll also, within a few minutes of the broadcast, I'll go to my website and I'll make sure that these two photos are over on the inspiration photos page for you all so that you can download them. But I encourage you, the next time you're out thrifting, garage sailing, you know, and you pass by the little table of the smalls, the little, you know, teacups and the small little vases and things like that, take a second look at it, pick out a few things and just keep them in your studio to do your own sort of photo shoots, still life photo shoots. Yeah, my husband in the tech business, so thankfully, yeah, he's always shaking his head at me over something I've done. And I think my next computer may be an Apple product because they're just superior when it comes to editing and video kind of creation things. So yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. In fact, I've already been chatting with the little young man at the Apple store. The nice thing about using craft paints for a project like this is they dry pretty quickly. We're almost done. I like this painting. This is turning out really nice. Yeah, Macs are best for creative types. So yeah, at some point I'll be upgrading to one, probably to one. Now, don't worry if your sunflower centers aren't perfectly round, because in reality, they're not perfectly round. This is nature. Nature's not perfect. Nature's uneven and wonky. This is the violet. I'm going to come in with a little bit of the brown. I'm just dabbing it in with the like pointy end of the brush. And it's blending with the purple a little, but that's okay, because the two of them together would make brown anyway, which is already brown. So just a little bit darker brown. All right, Michelle. See you later. So I put some yellow on there, and I'm going to mix it with the brown. My daughter's home. I guess she must be going out somewhere. She just shoved a note under the door. It's pretty funny. So remember, just because you're painting kind of a semi-abstract doesn't mean you don't want to give it the impression of depth, right? So like your sunflower centers would be round, so the edges would be darker, then the center would be lighter. And one part of this is in shadow more than the other. Like this part is in shadow more than this. Although the photo is pretty dark, that's okay. You can put your sun anywhere. You can, you know, give it shadow or highlight where it doesn't have any. Just make sure that you do it to both flowers in a way that makes sense. That's pretty good. I'm kind of wanting not to do too much more to it. Except for like right here is like, I don't know, there's something wrong there. Thank you. I'm surprised I made it this far without taking a baby wipe out. How many of the rest of you are surprised? Yeah, that's better. And let's do this. Some of this. I've done whole paintings with baby wipes too. They're another fun art tool. There's always one place on a painting, every painting I've ever done, that takes me the longest to fix, right? Sometimes on a face, it's the nose. Sometimes it's the lips. There's always one place, always, that you fuss with back and forth that takes you a while to get it right until you're happy with it. Don't feel like there's something wrong with you because of that, because it happens to the best of us. For me right now, it's this table bottom. And while I'm not looking to copy the inspiration photo exactly, I'm using it for inspiration, and I'm trying to have it be in a way that makes sense to me. And that is actually a lot better, I think. Yeah, there's always going to be one spot in your painting that's going to just drive you up the freaking wall because you can't get it right. Sometimes it's so bad that you just need to walk away. Just walk away and come back, go have lunch, go have coffee with your friends, something like that. But it is because it's going to still be there when you get back. But if you look at it with fresh eyes, a fresh perspective, then a lot of times you'll know exactly how to fix it. I should have left that alone. I liked it better without the white up there. Now I've got to fix it, see? Sometimes taking a photo of the painting with my cell phone, I don't know what it is about that, but sometimes taking a picture of it with my phone and then looking at it through the photo. And again, it's probably just because you're getting a different perspective. That solves my issue with the painting, because then I can see, aha, that's what it is. I need to fix that. Yep. Again, it comes back to pictures. That was a lot of red right there. There we go. Now, I'll also, too, something I tell new students, no digging any holes to China with your paintbrush. You just need a light touch. Yeah, converting photos to black and white not only helps with the contrast, but if you're going to use completely different colors than what is in the original photograph, you see the value without being distracted by the original color. So I think that printing them in black and white, and sometimes depending on the painting that I'm working on, I have the original and altered one, and then I have both printed in black and white. And if I'm working on my easel, all of those versions are all on my easel, and I use them all for reference. Also taking photos, Phoebe, if you get to a stage in the painting where you know the painting is not done, but that would be a good maybe art journal background or something. It's, you know, you won't maybe remember what you did without the photo. Because I've done that where I've created something that I like the original, but I also like, you know, it at a certain stage, and so I'll take a photo. I'm glad I have taken photos. Can put cats to sleep now. Is that a good thing? So we're just adding the final touches to our, I think, our flowers. I'm really liking how this little painting is turning out. And that's the problem, is I make these little paintings thinking, oh, you know, I'll give it away or I'll sell it on Etsy, and that never happens. You guys are going to have to come like to my house and drag paintings out of my hand. The ones I want to sell don't sell. The ones I don't want to sell are the ones people want. Yeah, when I'm at my easel, I usually have photos taped to the easel, and I also usually have some kind of a post-it note that says sun, so that I know where I intended to have all of the, you know, highlights and stuff coming from, what direction. Otherwise, I have a tendency to forget, and I just get involved in the painting and I forget where I wanted all of those things to be. And I'm glad I'm not the only one. See? I've had people want to buy my journals, and I'm like, no. I'm sorry, that's not for sale. Okay, I'm going to leave that before I mess it up, because I like the way that looks. So there you go. Yeah, right? I have lots of paintings. Believe me, I need to sell a few. So one thing I do with these little paintings, and those of you who are YouTubers or bloggers, that I do, especially if I've done something like this for Monday with DecoArt, is after it's dry, I'll turn it over and I'll write all the paint brand and the colors on the back, so that I always have a reference of what colors I used in this painting. I also will, once it's dry, I will give it a coat of DecoPage. Usually I use the DecoPage, I think it's Antique. Hang on. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So it has to be completely dry, but then you want to protect the paint always, whether it's artist grade or craft grade. You really should give it some kind of a protection. Even they say sometimes with watercolor, you should give, there are spray sealers for watercolor. I don't usually do that to my watercolor, but they say you should. Anyway, we digress. With any painting, especially if it's painted with craft paint, this is not meant to be necessarily archival. So I want to protect it for as long as possible. So I'm going to let it dry completely. Then I'm going to take DecoPage in Antique, which has a little bit of a tint in it, just a teeny tiny bit. And so I like the way that looks. You could use clear, of course. And this is, this just says DecoPage Antique. It doesn't say that it's matte or glossy. It's kind of a satin finish. I let this dry completely, and then I give it a buff with some of the Americana Decor cream wax, and that prevents any of your decoupage glues can dry a little bit sticky. And this is a little bit matte. I want it to be a little bit shinier and not sticky, especially if I'm sending it to somebody. I don't want the painting to stick to like the bubble wrap that it's wrapped in. So I will give it a coat of cream wax, and I'll buff that in really well and then let that dry. Now the cream wax has a chemical-y smell, but it does dry really hard. It's water-based, so it cleans up easy. But it's not, it's not like Daddy Vans. It's not beeswax. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't think it's toxic, but it definitely has a chemical-y smell. But yeah, I would definitely, you can use the clear DecoPage, of course. I like the Antique. I like it a lot. In fact, it's the one I've used the most because I do use it on all my canvases now. And then I use the cream wax. And then I would probably, like if I was going to send this to somebody, I would probably, once I did these two things, I would still probably wrap it in wax paper and then put it in its bubble wrap container. Just to be extra cautious that things don't stick to anything. But you have to let it dry completely. Like I'll probably let it dry overnight and then do it. And I really like the way this turned out. I'm not going to be able to get rid of it. I can tell you right now it's going to end up on my wall with the other ones. I'm going to have to get the step ladder out so I can hang it over the doorway because I'm running out of room. Does anybody have any questions? And I won't get, I won't wasted this paint. Where's my scratch paper book? So I have this book. This is thin paper like Bible paper or dictionary paper. This is a financial statement. So those of you who have stocks and bonds, mutual funds, you get these financial craziness in the mail. I saved them to do these painty papers with. The paper's nice and thin. I'm not a huge napkin fan. I do have some, and I did buy those egg napkins because I couldn't resist. But I prefer like tissue paper and thin papers over napkins. But that being said, this is really nice thin paper for doing this kind of thing. We get a lot of these in the mail. So what I would do is take my baby white and cover. So, and I just, make some painty papers. It makes good painty papers. So after the DecoPage, the other one is Americana Decor Cream Wax. No, and my husband just says, we get so many of these books in the mail now. He says, do you need this one or can I throw this one away? And I've actually started sending them to my friends. So if I have to send one of my friends something, if they've, you know, bought stamps or something from me, or I'm sending out happy mail, sometimes I'll put one of these books in there because we have a lot of them. We get them, you know, on a regular basis. So I just make some painty paper out of the leftover paint. And this makes a good collage paper. Yeah, it's hard to throw shit away when you're a mixed media artist, right? It gets really hard to throw anything away. Especially if, you know, we're all fans of Shannon Green, right? She's a garbage saver enabler. Hi, you watch one of Shannon's video, and the next thing you know, there's something else you can't throw away. Love her dearly, Shannon. If you're watching, love you, love you. But it's pretty funny every time I watch one of her videos, there's something else I can't throw away. So there, now I have some painty paper. Oh, who doesn't love Shannon? She is hilarious. I agree with that wholeheartedly. So there we go, Monday with DecoArt, little still life. Right? She said we had to, honey. Shannon told me I had to save this garbage. It's not garbage, it's art supplies. All right, that's it for today, everybody. I hope that you had fun. I hope that you try painting some still lifes, and if you do, I'd love to see. If you're not part of my Facebook group, you can join A Life of Art and Self-Expression. The link should be in the description of the below the video. And that's it for today, I think. You're welcome. Don't forget the most important thing. Y'all know what that is, right? Do something nice for yourself because you deserve it. And I'll see you later. Paint some still lifes. All right. Bye, guys.